Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Midday Minute for today. It is Wednesday, May 27th. Hope you all are having just an absolutely fantastic day. As per usual, I have a scripture passage of the day, a Thanksgiving of the day, but I also today have, I'm going to call it an announcement. Yeah, it's a pretty cool announcement. So I'll save that to the end because it's kind of don't want you to miss out on the other things I have to share. So for our scripture passages, we've kind of been, since I've been doing these midday minutes from the middle of March, we've been sort of just bouncing around the Bible, looking at different passages, different themes, a lot of themes on prayer, on perseverance. The past probably about month, a lot of the themes have been about praise and thanksgiving. And those have all been really good, but for the end of May and throughout June, I wanted to change it up a little bit and specifically look at what Jesus teaches us in the Gospel of Matthew. And so what we're going to be doing for the scripture passages for these midday minutes is doing exactly that, kind of going throughout the Gospel of Matthew and seeing some of these teachings that Jesus gives us. And I'll make some comments on them because I'm a preacher and I can't help but talking. So it's kind of what I do. But anyway, our first one starts in Matthew chapter 4. There's going to be stuff we're going to skip over. We're not going to get to every single thing that Jesus says in the Gospel of Matthew. But we're going to start today with Matthew 4, 18 through 20, where he is calling the first disciples, calling them to be his disciples. And so Matthew 4, starting in verse 18, it says, "As Jesus was walking along the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. 'Come, follow me,' Jesus said, 'and I will make you fishers of men.' And at once they left their nets and they followed him." This is sort of the traditional view of what it means to be called as a disciple of Jesus. I mean, it literally is the first calling of the disciples, but it's usually referred to this because of what the disciples did. Everything for them changed in that moment. From when they met Christ, their lives were 180 degrees drastically different. And to me, this reminds me a lot of another picture of discipleship that we saw in the sermon on Sunday from the widow who gave her very last, who gave everything. That discipleship is not this, 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out kind of thing. Jesus calls us either you are fully in or you are not in. There's no half, there's no sort of, there's no maybe, there's no but if. There is, are you in or are you not? Peter and Andrew, are you going to stay by the lake still casting out your nets, or are you going to follow me? Are you going to leave all that behind, or are you going to follow me? And Jesus asks us similar questions today. What are you going to be defined by? Are you a follower of Jesus Christ first and foremost in your life? Is that the priority of our lives, or is it something else? Or are we kind of a disciple, but, we also really value this too? That, I'm a disciple on Sundays, but there's my work. That, I follow Jesus, but, my country's more important. Or, I'll go to church, but, my family really comes first. That Jesus says, no. All of those things you can obviously maintain in your life, but if I'm not coming first, you're missing the picture of what it means to be a disciple. And so, I told you I would ramble. I tried to warn you, but that is the picture of discipleship that we have. And so we're going to be looking through a lot of these different teachings and words of Christ throughout the Gospel of Matthew. I'm excited about that. I'm excited for you to join me in that. My Thanksgiving for the day is for someone in our church who throughout this process of having to do things differently and how we're a little bit disconnected has maintained and just been an awesome servant, and that is Pam Pullman. And Pam, if you don't know her, she is one of our Sunday school teachers, and she is also the church treasurer. And that is a tremendously huge job. And every week she is looking at our finances and writing checks and giving monthly reports and going to meetings and depositing the tithes and offerings. And she is just doing a lot. And I just wanted to publicly thank Pam and say that she's been a huge blessing throughout this time. On Friday, our finance team is going to meet and talk about where our finances are at, and I'll report a little bit about that on Sunday. But I'm just really thankful for Pam for her consistent service in the church and not just not allowing us to not have a handle on our finances. She's just been doing incredible. And so thank you, Pam, if you are watching this. So that's my Thanksgiving. My announcement is we are planning something pretty cool for June 7th. Sunday, June 7th. So it's not this Sunday, the following Sunday. We are in the works of planning having a drive-in worship service where we can actually be together as a church, which I can't stop smiling about because I miss you all a lot. While it will be different and while we do have to be socially distant and have some rules, and I'll give all those details when that Sunday gets a little closer, we are really close to nailing that down. Pastor Justin is, I think as I'm making this video, talking with another church to borrow and figure out how to get their FM transmitter so that the music and the sermon can be the audio from that can go through the radios in your car. And so while it's not totally back together and while it's not how I want it to be, it's a step in the right direction, and it's something I'm looking forward to. So we are probably 98% of the way there to getting that service nailed down. There is a lot that will have to go into it. There's a lot that we're going to have to ask of people to help set up and tear down and all of that, but it is really exciting. And I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, weather will be a determining factor. And so if it's, that Sunday morning, June 7th, we will have to make a call in the morning of whether or not we're going forward with that. If it's a downpour, we're obviously not going to be able to have the technology outside. So we'll have to do online again. But I'm really hoping we can do this and pull it off. And it's going to be a cool thing. It's going to be able to see you. We'll have communion. Actually in person. I'll be able to see you, and you'll be able to see everybody else in church for the first time in a long time. And so I'm really excited about that. So once we nail down all the details about that, you will be receiving more information about what that looks like, timing, expectations, how we're going to maintain social distancing, what all of this is going to look like. There'll be some guidelines we'll have to follow, but we will be sure to communicate that well before that service is happening. Okay, my midday minute has turned into my midday dissertation. So I will say goodbye for now. I love you all a lot. I'm praying for you all a lot. If you have anything that you need to share with me, concerns, ideas, prayer needs, anything, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, have a good one, and I'll be back on here tomorrow.